Hello everyone, so it is a very warm morning here. I would like to introduce you to my Joan J raspberry. This raspberry has been incredible. I've had it for, I believe this is the third year now. I just love this raspberry bush. Let's check it out. This raspberry bush was started in a pot. She isn't incredibly large, but she packs a punch. Look at all of those clusters of fruit. Those are actual fruits. The bush was blooming in April, end of April. But for the most part, we're actually getting decent sized fruit on here already. This is actually last year's wood, and that kind of confused me. As you see at the end here, it is dead, but I was under the impression that you were supposed to prune back all of the previous year's branches. I did not do that going into the second year because I wanted to see what would happen. I wasn't disappointed. This branch was fruiting last year, and it may have very well been fruiting the year before that. And as you can see, the fruit comes up on last year's wood first. Again, another example. But you can see buds forming on this year's growth. Now, a lot of this has actually grown in this year. There was a lot of old wood here from last year, but a rabbit, I'm guessing it was a rabbit by the way it looked. It's a little wasp visiting. But I guess a rabbit came through and munched down. It was at least half of the plant. And here's another one of last year's branches. The growth is very thick. I'm going to try to thin this plant out. It's kind of hard to see how much new growth is down there. But there is a lot. So again, this is a 3-year-old plant. Let's talk about why I love this plant. Okay, first of all, it is supposed to be summer fruiting, or at least that's what they say. But this thing, it's not only everbearing for me, it is the first thing to fruit, and it is the last thing to fruit. It just keeps going. So it's about to give us this huge flush of fruit, and there's way more down there. It's about to give us a huge flush, and there is yet more that is budding up. So once these buds fruit, it's very likely that these are going to start flowering again. It just keeps going. It's insane how much fruit this bush produces. On any given day during the summer, I can walk out here and pick fruit off of this bush. This is actually my son's raspberry bush, and every time we go into town, he will come out here, get himself a handful, and we'll leave, and he'll have himself a little snack for the car ride. Now, it's not always a ton of berries that pop up, but it's usually 3 or 4 of them that are ripe at a time, and sometimes there's a whole flush of them, like this. So, it's everbearing for me, and produces a ton of fruit. Secondly, this thing doesn't require much of any care. I actually came through here, and as you all know, this is May, and I just now came through here and weeded around it. There are a few stragglers. It's mainly just grass because it's so dense down there that nothing really grows in there. We'll get the grass popping up through it, but that's just a common issue here in Tennessee. It's hard to grow anything without grass popping up through it, no matter how dense it is. So pretty much maintenance free, aside from weeding it maybe 3 times a season. I try to keep up with it, but we also mow around it. So it fruits a lot, it fruits constantly. How are the berries? So the berries are pretty average sized compared to what you'd find in a grocery store. Sometimes you'll get some larger ones. Like a few of these look like they may wind up being quite large. The fruit is quite sweet, very succulent. As far as I'm concerned, the fruits that these guys produces are absolutely perfect. As you already know, they taste far better than they would from a grocery store, so I absolutely love that. We have a lot of wasps in here today. I haven't really noticed any pests on the berries. Sometimes we get some beetles that get into the berries, but it's nothing much. But this little wasp here, unless he's pollinating, he could be telling me something else. But it does look like he's pollinating, so that's great. So we'll leave him alone. I am a friend to the wasps. I don't bug them, harm them. I let them do their thing because they are incredibly valuable in my garden. I absolutely need them, and you likely do too. I'll have to cover that in the future, but they actually do some serious pest control. I've not had anything rival the sheer amounts of flies and armyworms, hornworms that these guys get rid of. So I'm a huge fan, absolute huge fan. So this guy is largely maintenance free. Delicious berries, highly productive, highly productive. Also, again, fruits on new growth. You can see that's green, that's new growth. Another cool thing that I've noticed is that this plant, if it has berries on it, if it's still going at frost, the berries will hang on there. Frost won't kill them. It has to be a pretty hard freeze to kill it off. And not only are the berries prolific, the plants are prolific. I have baby plants popping up everywhere. Here's another one. This is a whole new plant as well. I'm probably sitting on one. A few of them got mowed. But a lot of these are totally new plants. Here's another one. If you're contemplating raspberries, get the Joan J. No argument here. And I just happened to find that rabbit damage I was talking about. You see that? That's the rabbit damage, the way it's cut. It's kind of cut at an angle. But this plant, I'm absolutely in love with it. Couldn't be happier. And I almost want to rip out all my other raspberries. Just replace them with this one. Get you one, guys. You're going to absolutely love it. I think I bought this one for $6 at Tractor Supply, maybe $7. Nothing terrible. Thank you guys so much for visiting. Bye, everybody.